right, NFL, man, it's guys coming, guys going. Obviously, we're Dolphins fans, or I have a lot of Bills fans that pay attention to what I do. So the AFC East is a focus. So we have Kendall Lamm coming back to the Dolphins, an unbelievable, huge move by the Bills in trade. Stefon Diggs goes to the Texans. So I'm going to cover both these moves today. And not to say, look, as a Dolphin fan, how can you not be happy when a guy of Stefon Diggs' talent leaves and they're stuck with a big amount of money? But as a football analyst, it's not as killer as people trying to make it out. It could be, and I'll get into that. But Kendall Lamm coming here is a very, very nice move. It doesn't all of a sudden make us Super Bowl contenders. But I'm going to get into the depth of the offensive line. This is the offensive line channel, some might say. So I'm going to get into how Kendall Lamm and the slow building of the depth of this offensive line is very, very good. So those are two things I want to get into today. Going to do the live on Friday. Got a special guest, a real pro in Dolphins coverage. Come check it out. You'll enjoy it. Even if you're not a big fan of my stuff, you're probably a fan of his stuff, and so you'll enjoy. I'm not kind of shouting out who exactly it's going to be. You can come and say or whatever, see who it is and decide to stay or not. But I don't like being the small guy and then like feeding off the bigger guys. So, but you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. I really like him a lot, and he's huge. Anyway, so that will be that Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Come check us out. All the guys that come on and comment we're going to shift that to next week. It's just going to be about this one particular interview that I'm going to do. And that's what's going to be, an interview. I want to dig into what he sees. He's a guy who covers the Dolphins, talks to the players. It's a totally different story. Doesn't mean you have everything right and whatever else, but I mean, it's an asset. It's an asset in your toolkit when you want to make judgments. So anyway, that's that, guys. The likes, the subscribes, the comments, the views. That's how this thing goes, you know. You got to kind of sell yourself a little bit. And anything you could do to help me with the subscribes, the likes, if you subbed, hit the notification bell, comments. I love comments. Comments mean a ton to me. I really believe in relationships and communication. I learned so much through these through the comments and all that other stuff. So I appreciate that. Also, check me out at Curtis at Fins News, PHINS News 1 on the Twitter thing. I'm still trying to do the Twitter thing. I get in and get out. It's interesting. But there's a lot of useful stuff there, so check me out there. Anyway, guys, I want to give you a shout out to A-Spread, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. AcePerhead's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so I'm going to get into Dolphin stuff first. If it's a Bills fan, it's kind of checking me out. I'm going to cover Stefon Diggs in a smaller level here, and then I'm going to do a special one just for the Bills from that perspective and dig in deeper. Okay, but first I'm going to get into Kendall Lamm. Kendall Lamm is a guy I wanted to come back here. He really provides a lot in the depth position, not starting. Some people, I remember Tehran, who fans, they're so caught up in the moment. He is an excellent player for us for this depth, and we're slowly building this offensive line up. He doesn't add to the peak talent part, but offensive lines, for the most part, the peak talent obviously is the most important, but the guys in the depth and the number of quality guys you have in the depth, for the most part, is like almost as critical as the starters, because starters go down. Last year, the Bills got extremely lucky. All their starters played like 95% of the snaps. That doesn't happen too much, especially today. So the number of guys you've got to fill that depth and come in and give you reasonable snaps is massive. We Dolphin fans know how much it sucked last year. Now we got Tehran at left tackle, Lamm behind him, Wynn left guard, or maybe right guard, left guard it seems like, Brewer at starting center, and then Eichenberg behind him as the backup. Then Eichenberg right now, for now, let's hope it's not forever, but for now, is the right guard with Jones behind him. And then you got Jackson the right tackle with Driscoll and Lamb, but then Driscoll comes back inside and helps you with Wynn and Eichenberg, depending. I'm not really super high on Driscoll. I like his play. He could play okay. He's got some flaws, but he's a good guy. He's a vet. And then Lamb, that kind of, something happens short term will bring, like the end of games, where you're kind of reasonably ahead. You can bring these guys in and they could take reps away from a guy like Teron, who needs as few reps as he can manage because the guy's got bodies beat up. But it gives you a ton of flexibility. Some people like Driscoll inside the right guard. My overall concern is the drive blocking. We run a lot of outside zones, so that's not an absolute need. But so far, we're starting to do something nice. Now, if you look at the overall thing right now, there's more depth on this offensive line than last year. Good news. Bad news is Connor and Hunt aren't here, so the starting talent's dropped, but the depth has risen. And like I said, there's plenty of bullets to fire. So some people like Keon Smith. I've got to put him in there. I'm not really big. I got to see, for me, for my eval with offensive linemen, it's how they handle power. If you see them getting blown up, they're easily susceptible to the bull rush. They can't drive guys in a drive blocking. Those are huge red flags. And until I see you can handle it in certain areas or moderate level, I can't really bill you. But some people like Keon Smith. We'll see. We'll see. Now, Lamb is 32. He had some dings last year, so he's kind of getting to the end of the road. But if Teron comes in healthy and he doesn't have to start, then this is a really, really excellent spot for us. Now, again, some people, Teron, who thing with Kendall Lamm. But if you look at his pass blocking efficiency was 96.5, which is like starting to get into the bad area. That was overall. But his true pass set grade was 93.1. Now, that's not good. That's bad. It's very bad. But we can hide it in a lot of ways. But it goes back to what I'm saying about power. The thing with Kendall Lamm is he can handle power. And he can shield. If you look at his run blocking, he had 69.7 grade by PFF, which was 2/3 of our runs, in zone, which is a lot of the zone stretch stuff, which is great for us. His gap, though, which is 1/3 of our runs, fell to 34.3. And that means they get him to a spot and he floods in the area. So it's kind of like on the move a little bit more, and he dropped dramatically. But he can kind of do the zone stuff. The zone stretch, can't drive block, susceptible to the bull rush. That's why the 93.1 efficiency grade. He gave up, out of only 343 snaps, again, I'm trying to create context, he gave up 20 pressures, 15 hurries, 1 hit, and 4 sacks. Now, if you extrapolate that out to a full season, that's not good. It's times it all by 3. That's not good. But you're not hoping for that. You're hoping Teron plays all season, and he comes in for breathers. He comes in for short areas where, hey, you know what? Maybe Jackson or Teron have like a little gimpy ankle and is a lesser opponent. We could bring him in here, scheme around and protect them up and get a guy in. Because last year, remember, we had to rush Connor back. We rushed Hunt back and he got the setback. This is really good when you got Driscoll and Lamb because that's a spot duty guy. Driscoll came in for the Eagles last year and he had some spot duty. Now, he had protection inside with better offensive linemen, but this is really good for the Dolphins' chances. We need to upgrade this depth. The starting group of this offensive line. We need more drive blocking inside. I've had a conversation with someone for a long time, and I'm going to try to get into a bigger study about how the A-gap effectiveness and B-gap effectiveness, it doesn't have to be, 70s Dolphins, but the more effective you're inside, in the inside zone, or at least, in the cutback on the outside zone, it's going to open up everything else. And so we'll get into that. I think the starting talent, I'm going to do a mock draft, my mock draft this week. Someone's helping me think it through. So there's a lot of areas for us to build this up, but this depth is very, very good. You've got two back, you got your starters, Jackson. I'm not super high on him. I'm super high on Teron, except for the injury part. And then you got backups. This is good. So a little bit more starting talent depth and we'll be in the right spot. And we need it. Offensive line makes the NFL world go round. And Chris Grier's model is going to test that theory this year and next year too, because unless he's tricking everybody, he's going to grab an offensive lineman. We'll see. But this is very interesting stuff. This is philosophy stuff. And so we will see. But I do believe in the Harbaugh old school, not as much, but to a certain degree, much more to obviously than what we got with Chris Grier. So we'll see how it plays out. Anyway, Diggs has been traded. Last year, we had the problem with them screaming out Allen on the sidelines. Some people, the Dolphin fans, they like it. I don't like it because I like Allen. I think he's a good guy. And I don't like to see anybody come to a team and know you got him by the boop and then, kind of crunch them because they got the numbers and they can't do anything about it. And to act like that, you're getting paid millions. If things aren't going your way, be a big boy, be mature, be a team player. I really don't like him. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but the way he handles his business is just really petty. It's really petty. But the Bills now, they traded him to the Texans. They gave away a fifth and a sixth, a fifth this year, I think, and a sixth this year and a fifth next year. And then they get a second next year. But they're left holding a lot of money. Now, I'm still waiting to see the exact amount. You could look and say, okay, when Allen got Diggs, he kind of wasn't doing good. Diggs came here. Now he's awesome. You take Diggs out, he sucks. But Curtis Samuel is a better player for what I think the Bills want to do. And if you didn't have Curtis Samuel there, I would definitely be very concerned and more writing on, the Bills are screwed type thing. But if you look at Diggs last, he was a shell of himself. He really couldn't get open. It was always tight coverage. And I don't know if he wasn't giving his all or he's gotten slower or whatever the deal is. But Curtis is good name. Samuel is going to his speed. He runs 4.31. That's blazer. He's going to add some other stuff. And he kind of is an approximation for Diggs. Not Diggs from 3-4 years ago, but Diggs from last year. So I don't think it's going to be a huge because Shakir, their backup, their third slot, their slot receiver, third receiver. I think he's about ready to do something good. He's a slot guy, and you got Samuel. I don't know, are they going to get a guy in free agency like a Boyd? They have the money now if the numbers are as Sporek and Over the Cap says, or they're going to draft the guy. I think if they draft the guy, though, it's going to take a little time for that to get going. Not as much as it used to. But then there's also the thing, too, with Allen. There's nobody else anywhere that said, hey, you know what? You need to get more run game behind Allen, play action, pull a ball out of his hands a little bit and get, him under center. And no one was saying that. I've been saying that. I was saying that for 4 years. Last year when I got rid of Shaky Bones Dorsey, I said, Brady, if he calls like this, it's going to be very good for him. Nobody really was saying that. I said that. And it happened because it's going to take it. But the problem is, will Allen grow through? He makes bad mistakes. He makes dumb passes. Not all of them is fault. You see them happen. And you're like, but not all of them is fault. But if the offense goes to a more standardized look, 2 tight ends, they got Kincaid and they got, what's his name? The other guy, Knox. And then you got a good offensive line. You can run the football inside. You got Samuel and Shakir, and you get another guy. And then you start working kind of stuff that you saw last year after Dorsey left. And then Allen rides with that. And you don't have to run him so much to get his body beat up. I think they'll be fine. But can Allen and Brady design this offense to operate without the fun and gun look? And can Allen stick with that? I think talent-wise, the kid is fine. He gets really good, but he can't keep running forever. That body's going to break down. He'll get an injury and the whole season will collapse. You just can't do it. So it'll be very interesting to see. It could be where they just start getting desperate. He goes to a shaky Dorsey Bones thing where Allen's running a lot and they're having struggling with the offense, and then that could be really bad. But if they do it right, They made some move. Their offensive line's not going to be a disaster. They got rid of Morse, but they moved, I think it was Edwards, or I can't remember the guy's name, inside, and Edwards is playing the left guard, I think. They'll be fine. That offensive line's pretty good. I don't know about their depth. They got to check the depth. They can run. If they can run that football, it's going to go well for them. The defense, they need those safeties. They got no safeties over there. So it does put pressure on them for the safety, to find a safety. They only got 2 picks, the first and the second. There's a while back. So you got to find some safety help. I mean, you definitely need another wide receiver. So how do they play it out will be very interesting. And if Allen can not be glory ball and get into the system and work that system through, I think they'll be fine. But they do have a check. You can't pull Diggs off. A guy who, I mean, it's hard to say what he is now, but the way he looked the last 2 years, not that good. But you pull that guy off with the chemistry, even though they might have not getting along, the talent, the experience, it's going to hurt. And then you got the money, constricting. Now, if the cap numbers are not what Sporek or Over the Cap says, they only got about $8 million right now. And if after this trade, you only got $8 million. You can't get a free agent receiver or a free agent safety. It could be problems. It would force Bean in that back end to hit some big players because you need more than 2 guys at this stage with the loss of Diggs. But they can get 1 safety or receiver in free agency and give them a little bit of leeway to who to use that first and second round pick. I think they'll be good. But Dolphins now are in position. You got Rodgers coming off the injury with a helter-skelter offensive line. Could be good, could not be. You've got Diggs getting pulled out over there and some confusion going on with this Bills team and a lot of pressure, and then a rebuilding Patriots team. The Dolphins are in position. Will they take advantage? I think they have the possibility, but we'll see. This draft's going to play out big for the Jets, Dolphins, obviously the Patriots, but I mean short term. And the Bills. Going to be very excited. This Diggs trade adds even more juice to the draft if that's possible. Anyway, guys, could be our year to take this division. Let's see. Let's not write anything in the books. Bills fans, let's see how you guys play it out. And let's not sleep on the Jets. This AFCE could be, I've been saying for a couple of years and it hasn't played out, where it's been a 2-team. I thought last year was going to be a 4-team, 3-team, 3.5 team. Ended up being, really a 2-team. But maybe it'll be a 3-team this year, so we'll see. I love the AFC East, and I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, Curtis, catch you next time. Be well. Go Fins. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.